Here we go. I think we're live. Live Q&A session. 20,000 subscribers. I said if we get there, I'll do a live Q&A session for you on Sunday. So I am going to make sure I follow up on that. Hopefully, I'm going to do a little bit of mumbling on while we give people time to join the live Q&A session. Hopefully, it's out there on YouTube, because last time I did a live Q&A session, which I think was 19,000 subscribers, it didn't go live on YouTube, which was a big problem because the views would have certainly been a lot higher if it went live on YouTube at the time. So I'm hoping if anybody can put in the comment section in the comments that they actually saw it on YouTube, that would be absolutely amazing. So I know it's gone live there. In fact, while I'm talking to you guys, I'm just going to have a little bit of a look on my YouTube channel myself just to make sure it is on there, because that was an absolute balls up. Yeah, it looks like it's on there to me. Yeah, I can see myself there on my channel, so that must be working. So yeah, I'll give a minute or two for everybody to join and mumble on. But yeah, 20,000 subscribers, thank you so much. I'm going to try to do a Q&A session for about half an hour with you guys, and then I'm going to call it, because I've got an exclusive video on the private group to finish off. And then hopefully I can start cracking on getting ready for next week, because it's a big one, isn't it? Well, not on the US side of it. The US is a bit more of a quiet one, isn't it? We've got Thanksgiving on the US side of it. So Thursday is pretty much a dead day. Friday's a pretty much a white, an absolute write-off. So you've only really got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on the US markets. But the UK, it's a busy one on the UK. I mean, all eyes are going to be on the budget, aren't they, this week? We'll see what happens there. I won't say too much, because I'll probably cover it on tomorrow's video about some sort of predictions on that point of view about what's going to happen with the budget. But my quick honest answer about the budget, I'll be honest with you, I think that there's a certain amount of fear already priced in. So unless it's like a really big, like, wow, that's bad, that's the only way that I could see the market continuing to drop. Even if it's like, and that sort of budget, I think the market might have a bit of a relief rally, because I think at the moment it's pricing like another absolute stinker, but you never know, do you? So we'll see what happens anyway. But yeah, 2 minutes of mumbling on there for you guys to try and get in. So hopefully that was enough time. But the replay should be available after I'm finished anyway, for any of you guys that do want to see it from the start. But let's start going through some of these questions here. So hey, we've got the TJ09 joining. Thank you so much. DB, thank you. No, thank you so much. Yeah, hopefully, I think for us to get to 10K to 20K subscribers took around about 4 years to do that. We got to 10K subscribers in 2021, which is incredible, isn't it? How long that's taken. So hopefully it doesn't take as long that time. But yeah, it's 20K is decent. I always said to myself that when I started YouTube, if I got to 20K subs, I'd be really happy with that. And now we're here. So does that mean I'm just going to pack it in tomorrow? We'll see. If there's no video tomorrow, you know I've packed it in. Great stuff. We're all working. Great stuff. Great stuff. Louis confirming there. Swiss confirming. Thank you so much, A1. Thank you so much, Dragosh. I hope I said that right. Great stuff. Great stuff. Definitely working on the YouTube. Got M9 saying hi. Does the Black Friday Discord offer get you in the channel for good, or just 1 year, 12 months? 12 months, yeah. I couldn't do it for £44 for the lifetime. Jeez. No, £44 for the full year. Obviously, normally, through Patreon, it's what, £70, is it? And then Patreon charge their fees on top, so it probably pushes it to like £80. So it's like half the normal price. And yeah, it's certainly, I don't think there's any other private groups at that sort of price, like so many other groups are, £400, £500 a year. So it's significantly discounted, to be fair. Thank you very much. Thoughts on the young Chinese stocks? I'll tell you next week, because they're reporting earnings on Wednesday. Yeah, I don't like saying too much on the week of earnings, but they are reporting on Wednesday, I believe. So we'll see what happens. I'm not even seeing what the forecasts to do, actually, to be fair, at the moment. But I still don't know why that's at the current prices it's at, because I mean, they've actually been doing really well. And then you look at the valuations of like Jobby, and you're like, how is Ehang this discounted to them when they've actually been doing like they're actually selling a product to start with, and they're just still working through the prototypes at the moment. Incredible. No, that's absolutely fine. The Black Friday deal is running until Sunday next week, so you've still got 7 days to join up. I'll give a couple of mentions as well through the week as well. Can you answer how it's possible to hold on to a stock like Netflix and Nvidia, which are well over 100 baggers? There have been consecutive quarters where the fundamentals were deteriorating. I don't know. Nvidia has certainly grown profit and revenue historically, and even on the latest quarter, and Netflix. So I wouldn't say they're deteriorating at the moment, in my opinion. And I would say that, winners keep winning at the end of the day, don't they? Normally some of these big dogs years ago, eventually would have the day, but some of these big dogs at the moment are just making sure that they're staying top of the game by moving into the new area. For example, Microsoft years ago would have been wiped off the market, but they're so quick to adapt nowadays. Like when the cloud boom happened, that would be, the end of Microsoft. But nowadays they're so quick on getting into these new markets that they keep the big dog title. And, when the cloud comes along, there were major players in the cloud. The next thing happens, the AI boom. And next thing, that's normally when you have these new companies that come flying up. And I guess in Microsoft's case, their AI play really is the investment into Chat GPT. But they were so quick getting the investment in that they still maintain being, one of the big dogs out there. So I personally would say that Nvidia and Netflix are still fundamentals are actually improving at the moment, as long as the profit and revenue keeps growing at decent rates. There might eventually be some deceleration going on, and that will be natural just because of the size they do get to. When you're doing 100 billion in revenue and to grow 10% a year, then you need to start doing 10 billion in revenue every year. It gets a bit tougher, and then you get to 110 billion and to grow another 10%, and then you got to do 11 billion. So yeah. Is that JD.com or JD Sports or JD Weatherspoons? Yeah. Let me know which one. What are your thoughts on deep value stocks? I've never looked into Nomad Foods at all. It depends what you're classing as deep value stocks. Are you talking about like low single P's growing a couple of percent a year? If you can pick the right ones, that could do very well, to be fair. I mean, look at like Imperial Brands and Bats. They were like, all the smoke. I don't know if I can say the S word because I might get demonetized for saying that. But obviously the puffin stocks, the traditional puffin, not the new generation. And and people saying like, why would you invest in them? Because it's a dying industry. And then what happened to them in the last couple of years? They've gone absolutely ballistic. And so you can always for sure make money if it's the right valuation and they continue to improve financials, even if it's at a low rate and a low valuation. So if that's what if you're trying to get to. Do you have any thoughts on one of your all stocks, Jet2? You know what? Have you seen that the Jet2 music is everywhere, isn't it, nowadays? I've not looked at it. I've seen that the drop has continued to drop. I need to have another look into it, to be fair. So yeah, I need to. Yeah, it needs to be on my watch list because I've been noticing the drop on it. But they reported the earnings in the last week, and I've not looked into it. But yeah, potentially something to look at for sure. Are you going to do a watch list video on future stocks in 20? Yeah, probably. I mean, obviously, like I always do the stocks I'm buying, don't I? So you'll see them stocks mentioned whatever month it is what I've recently been buying there. But I try and do like a couple of stocks like for 2026. I think these are really good winners, potentially stocks that I'm interested in. And then I'd like to try always do like my number one stock for that year if I can. Sometimes I do it for the US and the UK side of it. So I will try to do some sort of stocks on that point of view. But I think there's a lot of good opportunities out there at the moment, to be fair. So yeah. What's your obsession with financial education? No obsession here. Just putting warning signs out. Although, Lewis, I recognise that name. I think you're the guy that went short on hims and hers. I think it was you, wasn't it? Oh, that must be painful for you. Actually, to be fair, if you've been loading up recently, you might be doing all right. It's been on a bit of a drop. Hi, JK. When does AMD coming by for you again? Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not for a bit, to be fair. I mean, how much does it pull back? It's pulled back a little bit. 17%. I mean, year to date, it's still 68%, isn't it? What's it on a forward PE? Still 30. Yeah, I won't be interested in AMD unless it got to like 20. So it's way off there. Oh, I can hear myself. Let's get rid of that. Are you afraid of getting a stock terribly wrong? Oh, God, I've got stocks terribly wrong before. 100%. But not as bad as Palantir going up 10x. But I've definitely had a couple of losers over the years, and that's part of the game. Sometimes you just have to accept it and you move on. If you live in fear of getting a stock wrong, you're not going to do well in this game. You are going to get stocks wrong. There's probably stocks I'm buying now that I'm going to get wrong. But as long as you get 8, 9, well, not even 9, 7 out of 10 right, you'll do all right. Obviously, the Palantir case, I mean, that's obviously a big, massive stinker, isn't it? But as long as you don't get anything that wrong, hopefully, that's a big whack, isn't it? But it happens sometimes. Where do you see Hims going in the next 12 months? So last time I saw Hims and Hers, I think I said to you guys, like, I see a pullback coming in because there's so many people jumping in this stock because of hype, and the growth rate's now at 100%, and that's just not sustainable. And eventually when those growth rates contract, which they're not like negative, but they're not 100% anymore, they're down 40%. There'll be investors that go, God, that's boring. You're only growing at 40% instead of 100%. Rubbish. And all those kind of meme investors that are jumping in. And then obviously you got all the short pressure. So they're going to be jumping on as well, going, look, it used to grow 100% and now it's only growing 40%. That's all going to happen. And we've started to see that happen. I didn't think it would pull back as much as what it has done. Yeah, obviously it has. It depends for me on the guide they give for next year. If they kind of come in line with the guide that currently analysts are expecting, I could see the stock going a little sideways for a little longer. If they kind of come out and they go, right, blow the guidance out of the water like sometimes they do, that might just give it that little bit momentum to kind of then kick on from there. So I think for the next 12 months, it would all depend on what they give on the guide for the next quarter, ultimately. A little bit of a cop-out answer, I apologise, but that's what I would probably say. Do you think SoFi is still a buy? If you told me I had to either sell all my position or buy today, I'd probably buy. But I think there's certainly a lot better opportunities out there than SoFi right now. But it's a lot easier to say that when you're sitting on like a $6-7 average. It's a total different question if you haven't got an investment and you want to own it and you think it can be the next JP Morgan in the next few years. It's a tricky one. Dan says, kind of new to investing. What's a good number of stocks for a newbie? It's the age-old debate is that you ask someone will say 3 stocks. You ask someone else, they'll say 100 stocks. There's no right or wrong answer. It's what you think is right for you. Personally, I've always been a believer around about 30 stocks myself. However, like I said, there'll be people, even on this here live stream, that are saying that's way too much, and maybe even some people that say it's not enough. I think as long as you have a healthy diversification where you can sleep well at night, I know that if one of your stocks, you wake up the next day and it turns out they've gone bankrupt, and that is not going to absolutely destroy you, that is the position you don't want to be in. So as long as you're not in that position with your diversification, then you're probably going to be that's probably a good place to be in. I would also say have a stock that's no bigger than a 10% allocation, but that's just myself. So up to you. Would love to hear your thoughts on Evo as long-term hold now. Evo, probably the stock that I'm least optimistic in my portfolio. I thought the last update was not great. The China's cybersecurity attack that's going on, it seemed like that to me they were giving the suggestion that it was going to be resolved very quickly, and that doesn't seem to be the case. Then the other issue you have at the moment is there seems to be a lot more regulation going on in other markets, and then on top of that, your North American market, you haven't got iGaming states coming online. So it's not great at the moment. So I've not been buying any more shares at the moment because what management told me and then what they didn't happen, which makes me nervous. And then the big key growth driver for them at the moment seems to be slowing down. So I'm just holding because I do think that it's not hard for Evo to go right. Like if 12 months New York comes online with iGaming, boom, you're okay, especially at the valuation that they're at. So it could change very quickly. But the facts that I see at the moment is that it's not great. So holding, and hopefully they do get that cybersecurity situation in China or Asia under control. And hopefully we see some iGaming states. But I'm a little bit concerned that what they said they were going to do and what they haven't done, what they have done hasn't lined up at the moment, basically. What's the next new stock you are about to buy on a serious consideration? Nothing really at the moment. Nothing really seems that I don't own that I'd be willing to buy. I've got a few stocks on the watch list, but nothing that I'm like could buy next week. Anything that I want to buy has to be better than what I currently own in the portfolio, basically. And I haven't seen one of them at the moment. So there's not really anything at the moment that I'm like desperate to buy, I would say. Dennis says, what were yours and Matty's share tips of the year and how they're doing? I'd have to have a look. I assume you mean on the stock league, on the private group. Let me have a look. Stock league table. So, okay, where's my scroll gone? So I am up 31% this year on the stock league, and Matt is up 13%. I also thought it was up way more than that. And the stocks that I had were Hims and Hers, Google, Mercado Libre, Evolution, and AMD. So Hims and Hers is up 43%, Alphabet is up 57%, Mercado Libre is up 14%, Evo's down 25%, excluding the dividend though, and AMD is up 68%. And Matty went with Hims and Hers, Card Factory, Evolution, CVS Group, and Supermarket Income REIT. And Hims and Hers up 43%. Card Factory is down 1%. That's a bit unlucky, considering the financials that they've been doing. Evolution, same again, down 25%. CVS Group up 38%. I should have held on to that. I sold that stock way too early. But hey, we made money. I guess that's the main thing. Supermarket Income REIT is up 14%. I assume that probably won't have the dividend on top though. So when he works out the dividend on top, I'm sure that'll be even better. So yeah, not too shabby at all. And I bet he hasn't got his Card Factory dividend factored in there as well. So when that does happen, that'll be probably doing quite well there because that Card Factory dividend is what 5% ish. So yeah, that's how it's doing. I've not seen. I saw the stock dropped. I've not looked into it. The downgrade. Did they do a RNS? I didn't even see they did an RNS. I saw the stock dropped, but I didn't realize they posted an RNS out. Transactions. I don't see an RNS. Where do you think that downgrade came from? DB. I can't see an RNS. I saw the drop on the share price. I actually didn't know what the drop was. But let me know where the you think the downgrade came from. Have you looked into HIMS and HIMS smaller competitor Life MD? Yeah. So we do a stock request on the private group, and that's where members of the private group vote for me to look at a stock. A couple of months ago now, Life MD won the stock request, so I did have a look on it on the private group. I personally said at the time, I personally don't think, I don't like it. Since then, the stock has obviously fallen quite a significant amount. I think last week it had a big drop off earnings. I don't think much would have changed in that time frame. I never know because I've not looked into it. But last time I looked into it, I didn't like it. So I don't know what the new state of play is, but I have looked into it, but it was a while ago overall. Matt says, I averaged down on B&M last month, started with a small stake, and then, oh no, well, listen, I hope it works out for you. They do have the potential to turn it around ultimately, B&M, but I think they have got a few issues going on, and I've covered it before, haven't I? But they are resolvable, hopefully, and they hopefully do move it up into the right direction. But I also think management team maybe haven't been as totally honest as they could have been with some of the issues that they do have. So, but listen, I hope it works out for you. I'm watching it. I'm rooting for you. And if things hopefully turn around, hopefully I at some point I'm back in there with you. But yeah, it's they're obviously having a tough situation at the moment, aren't they? What price would you buy AMD? If I didn't own already. Oh, okay. That's a tricky one, that, isn't it? I mean, if I didn't own AMD, I mean, some of the numbers that could potentially do. I mean, you got it on a 20% dip now. So I personally, if I was really desperate, I'd buy a starter position now, and then I'll just set like 10% increases in the position every time it falls like $10. I think that's what I'll do if I was really desperate. And I think from the numbers that I've personally run before, like it could quite easily make money from here, to be fair, as long as this AI situation maintains, I guess. So yeah, I think that's what I personally would do if I had to. DB says, thanks for answering all the cues, Jacob. In the theme with your 20k subs, would you like to share your story of the most satisfying, even not the biggest gains, and worst buy so far? I mean, the best buys have to either be Tesla or Hims and Hers. Obviously, they went on to 10x and make mega amounts of money, so they're the best ones. The worst buys, there was a couple in 2021 that were pretty crap. I think the one that probably haunts me the most is probably Tattooed Chef, I would say, because I could see like it were going wrong, and I sold a good chunk of my position out, and I think I sold it out for break even, and I kept the rest of it. And yet I saw the financials deteriorating, and I even sold some of my position, and I don't know why I didn't sell it all. It was stupid. But I always like to think that, it helps you improve as an investor, and maybe because of that TTCF loss made me realize, like something like when B&M, when they posted their update out, and I realized, whoa, this is not good. Maybe the reason why I was so quick and able to sell something like a B&M is because I was in a position many years ago with something like a Tattooed Chef and went, bloody hell, this is going wrong. And instead of like fanning about and only selling a bit of it, when I saw the warning flags, the red flags, I got rid of it all, and maybe that saved my bacon a little bit, So try and look at it as a bit of a positive anyway. It's just life, isn't it? the only time you learn things in life is when things go wrong, isn't it? At the end of the day, when you only realize you don't trip up and fall over when after you banged your head the first time, and you go, well, that hurt. I'm not going to do that again. Yeah. So it's one of those, isn't it? The only problem is that obviously because when I do the YouTube channel, is that every time I make a cock up, it's there to see. So that's the only little nightmare. It's like, oh, bloody hell, like just had 20,000 people realize I've just balls that up. It's certainly, yeah. I wish I was maybe a little bit easier, and if I made a cock up, it would only me that noticed it on my investing platforms. Go, that's a bit of a balls up. At least I don't have to tell anyone about it. But when I make a cock up on the YouTube channel, I've got to come out here and make a video about it half the time. So yeah. I've lost where I am on the questions. How much of a threat or opportunity do you think AI will be on SaaS business models such as Adobe and Monday? $1 million question, isn't it? It's the $1 million question. That's why, they're so low valued at the moment, because the market believes that AI is going to disrupt them. If we know the answer, then either right now Adobe and Monday.com would be even lower, or if we knew it, they were going to be absolutely fine, the stocks would be massively higher. That's where you got to work out. Sometimes that's the key. Obviously, with Adobe and Monday, obviously I'm betting they won't be disrupted, and that's why I've been buying them. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it, in this game? How did you learn to evaluate individual stocks? Did you do a course? Just self-taught. Yeah, started many years ago now. What, 9 years ago now? Yeah, just reading things, listening to people, reading books, and then give it a shot. And like anything, like we're just saying in life, when as soon as you start doing it yourself, that's when you learn the big things, and you learn what goes right, what goes wrong, and hopefully you improve as an investor. But yeah, just listening to experienced people that have the returns and have done it, and being around the block a little bit. They can obviously they improve you massively, and you listen to you look at when they're talking about things, and you start seeing what they look for. It really helps you. And if you just pick those one or two things from that investor, one or two things from that investor, and then you add them all up, you can really do quite well. The big thing I don't think anyone teaches you until you actually go through it yourself is mental toughness, and actually going through stock market dips and stuff like that. And you can't learn that from a book. You have to do that in person. But everything else, financial point of view, you can certainly pick it up, I think. But you just learn so much when you do it yourself. And like I said, when things go wrong, you go, bloody hell, how did that go wrong? And you go, well, that didn't work and that didn't work. And then you realize next time you buy a company, you realize, okay, they've got that going on, and that's not good, because last time I bought a stock that had that situation was this, and that didn't work out. And that's what, it just helps you massively, ultimately. Ryan joins us. What do you reckon, Ryan? What's United's got? Is it Everton tomorrow? Doing all right, aren't you? You're doing all right at the moment. Better than what I thought you would. Perks not having Champions League football. Absolutely crazy when I first started watching you at a few thousand subs, and yeah, you must have been. I think you've been a subscriber for a good 4 or 5 years. Yeah. See recovery with AML. Is that Aston Martin? It's Aston Martin, isn't it? Let me just double check. Yeah, no, Aston Martin. Well, I mean, how many times have they been bankrupt? Is it 7 times, 8 times? I would more bet on them to bankrupt for the 9th time, to be honest with you. Got Lemon joining us. Hope the holiday was good, Lemon. You have had many successes, but what lessons have you learned from? Hopefully, I've covered a few. We just mentioned a few there. Hopefully, there was a few picked up there. Are you tempted to nibble at some AI-heavy upcoming stocks such as Newbie? I've never looked into them properly, but from when I've ever scanned at a couple of them stocks, the financials look absolutely terrible. So not for me personally, but I've never looked into them properly. So I don't want to make myself look stupid, but no comment at the moment. Iniesta says, congrats on the 20K. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Berkshire buying Google? Is it fairly valued? Yeah, I was surprised. I was really, really surprised about Google. But I mean, it's a confidence sign, isn't it, that they're buying it? And there's been a few times before they bought a few stocks and gone, oof, can't believe they're buying that now. And then it's worked out for them. You know, they're clearly, very well run. But I'm surprised they have bought it now. But I guess it's a confidence booster, because the fact that they're willing to go buy it, for me as a Google shareholder, I guess it's a bit of a confidence boost. But I was surprised. I thought that if they were going to buy it, they would have been in a little bit long ago. But I guess as someone pointed out on the Discord, which I think was Luke, said, to be fair, it was the whole period of like, what is it, July, August, September, is it? Yeah. So, they could have been buying it at a lower average really early on, rather than where it's at the right now, and that wouldn't seem too bad, to be fair. But when originally they bought Apple, I was a bit like, oh, are Apple going a bit downhill? And look at how well that did. So I would want to bet against them, but I was surprised, is what I would say. There you go. DB was actually just saying exactly the same thing as what I was just saying there. Yeah, the consensus might be that actually they got in, we assume that they bought at these prices, but because it was from the filing in the last quarter, they might have had a pretty decent average. We don't really know, do we? We've got Michael joining us. Thank you so much. Pieman says, yeah. I used to tip in Revolution Beauty. Tipping, buying, I don't tip anything. I just say my thoughts. I am still buying Revolution Beauty at the moment. Obviously, high risk play, because financially the company is shocking. Absolutely shocking. Would normally not enter my bright buying criteria at all. Profit doesn't exist. Revenue doesn't exist. Balance sheet is awful. But the founders, I'm buying it for them. They had previously a successful business there, and if they can get it anywhere close to what they used to do, hopefully we do well. But my thoughts is that everything that I've put in there is if the money that I put in Revolution Beauty, I have accepted that could go bankrupt. Basically, that's where I'm at the moment. Anyway, we'll see what happens in a few years' time. Anyway, guys, we are half an hour up, and I only said I'd do half an hour. I've got to end this here, and I've got to go finish off a video for the private group. So I'm going to crack on with that anyway right now. But thanks for joining. Thanks for all you guys that have watched the video, subscribed, liked, joined the private group, and hopefully we'll do another one sometime soon. Normally I would do one at like 21,000 subscribers, so we'll see how long that takes us to get there. It's probably the next time I see you guys, so hopefully we'll get there sometime soon. Apart from that, have a great Sunday. Thanks for giving up your Sunday night as well, for coming to listen to me mumble on about stocks, and I'll see you on tomorrow's video, where we're probably going to do a bit of a market preview for this week. So keep your eyes open. See you in a bit, guys.